Get on some train to find out. No one's holding down on you needs to find a way of what you want to say. Mama brought to mama. My friend said I'll take you home. Sit in the corner for the moon. He lives on the wall. Nobody can see him. Nobody can ever hear him call. Nobody can ever hear him call. Oh, no. My friend said, take you home. Sit in the corner of the mountain. He lives on the wall. Nobody can see him. Nobody can ever hear him call. Nobody can see him. Nobody can ever hear him call. Coming in at number 2 on the charts here, that was Dean Ryan and the Night Owls, right here on the just wonderful Real Deal Media Radio with Casey Kasem coming at you, the voice of Shaggy. Did you know? I kid. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to what a lovely Friday this is. If you can only see me, hopefully you can. Good evening. This is wonderful to be here on a Friday. Dean Ryan coming at you here still. And it is a Friday night kind of ordeal here at Real Deal Media Live. Real Deal Media Live. Yes, if this is your first time, well, you're in luck. It's a wonderful college kind of night. We're going to graze through the headlines, see what made things spin, made things twist this week in the week of news, as well as we're going to feature live call-ins. Plus tonight, we have something special. We have a new duo that is the talk of the town all up north. They're called the Concerned Canadians. Yeah, they're going to be joining me here tonight via satellite. They're going to be talking about some things happening in Canada because, you know, like I say, if we don't stop things and turn things around in Canada, it's going to be coming here. And yeah, like Michigan and so forth. So we're going to be talking to them about that. They're going to be arriving to their studio soon. I think they're taking the Zamboni, which I think is something in hockey, right? That's hockey's big up there. But yeah, this has been just a hell of a week, hasn't it? Everybody's recovering, and not necessarily from the Epstein files. I'm talking about the Guthrie fatigue, as one of the viewers said. I mean, I know so much about the Savannah Guthrie family that, I think my name is Ryan-Guthrie at this point. I mean, how can they not find this woman? Oh, because she's dead. Yes, if you missed it, we have the breaking news just days ago. The incredible, the very intuitive, magical Corey Daniel, not Haim or Feldman, but Daniel, the other one. Yes, the Phoenix Enigma shared with us. Our resident occultist shared that she died. Miss Nancy Guthrie died, at least that we know of, on the second day of the investigation. And what we're seeing right now is nothing but a cosplay by Savannah. Or is it? Or is it? I'm going to make a case here tonight, because I'm a rambling man and I gamble too on the side. And I also received some things that took place just hours ago, it feels like. Andrew, what's his full, did you hear this guy's full name? Prince Andrew, or the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew? Incredible. I can't even, never knew his real name is Andrew Bartonbeck, or something like that. It's like Andrew Bareback Windsor. So Mr. Bareback, Andrew, let's just call him Andrew. It just feels weird the other way. But Mr. Andrew, Prince Andrew, was arrested, I want to say 24 to 48 hours ago. Everything's a blur to me. And I got word of that about 2, 3 in the morning. But I also have some inside intel on what that was all about from our residential EU insider, Mr. Forsetti. And Alex, I'm ready to solve the puzzle. I think so. I think that's what I'm going to do here tonight. I'm going to put and piece this together because I take chances in life. That's what it's all about. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Okay, so we're going to get to that here. Before we get skedaddle in here, we are broadcasting live on the incredible platform over there that used to go by LifeLog. Then it went to Friendster. Now it's called Facebook. We're there at the travel page at TheRealDeanRyan. Hello to all couple of you. Yeah, it's good to know I reach at least 0.005% of the audience. That's just right there at the blood alcohol level. That for the DUI people out there, as well as we're broadcasting on Dean Ryan TV over there on YouTube. Where please check if you're still subscribed. They unsub about on average 25 a month. Yeah, that's what I get. That's my punishment. That's right. So, as well as the Frozen Rumble, which I've said enough about that. Okay. Yeah, we're in I'm in Studio B here today. There's rumors I may be back in Studio A as of next week. I can't confirm or deny that. That's true, but we'll see what happens over the weekend. But anyways, here's some things, grazing, and then I'll give my take on what I see it is. But we're going to get to some of these things here. Now, you might have heard the Supreme Court has now ruled against Donald Trump. I love the titles of what they're coming out with. They're saying robes rebuke the dawn. Yeah, robes rebuke the dawn. Yeah, which ones, the black or the red? The New York or the Manhattan or New England. So yes, the Supreme Court has now struck down the tariffs, the big tariffs that have been just ruling the financials since January of 2025 that we've heard about, where Trump's had the table and signed literally thousands. It appeared like of executive orders we don't even know about. Compared to the guy before him, Joe Biden, who was dead. By the way, you know what? Somebody gave me and confirmed what I already knew, that Joe Biden died in 2017. So literally, anyways, it just confirms a lot of things, and I feel special for being right about that. But anyways, in any case here now, yeah, Supreme Court struck down the sweeping tariffs, sparking a fierce pushback now. As now Trump is now really embarrassed, and he vows revenge. I don't know what that means. Hopefully, it doesn't mean we start another war on behalf of Israel. I kid. Yeah, the Supreme Court. That's entirely true. Let me tell you just a bit about it now. As the Supreme Court has struck down the far-reaching tariffs, they're saying, and everybody knows it. Everybody feels the pain. The Lucky Charm cereal that used to cost, $2.50, which is now $7. So, it's now a luxury item. Well, now it's another strings of losses. They're saying that sparked the furious attack on the court by Trump himself. Trump said he was absolutely ashamed of some of the justices in a 6-3 ruling against him. 6-3 ruling. And now he's calling them, quote, disloyal to our Constitution and lapdogs. Now, the irony in that statement right there, it's almost given me blood cancer that Netanyahu supposedly has. That's how the irony in that, it's so much. I can't even stand it. But yeah, that's entirely true now. The decision could have ripple effects on economies around the globe. As now Trump moves to reshape the post-World War II trading apparatus as we know it. Oh, and we do know it. And, we know that the UN is coming to an end. We know that NATO is going the way of the VCR. We know the WHO really stands for who cares now. But however, the Board of Peace, and someone brought this up to me the other day, and I apologize if I don't give you the credit. I can't remember things anymore. But the Board of Peace, and think about this, the Board of Peace for Gaza, and everybody's on it, including Israel is on it. That should tell you what it's really a board of. It's the replacement of the UN. And if you think about it, as much as we may not like the UN has really absolutely done nothing. I mean, they're united in name only. But here's something that's very telling about that too, is the United Nations only had one religious figure that sat in its council at the head of it, and that was always the Pope. Yeah, the Pope. Now, in this case, for the Board of Peace, the Pope declined to be a part of it. See? So, Pope Leo, who is, he's got a lot of street cred. So anyways, the court's ruling found that the tariffs Trump imposed on virtually everybody under the sun, and he used the emergency powers to do so, well, they ruled it as unconstitutional. Yeah, they did. He should have said he needed to do it because the fishing boats had fentanyl if we didn't do it. If you just add something to the equation, we can get it done. I think that's usually how this administration is going in this case. Now, it's including the sweeping reciprocal kind of tariffs that levied nearly every country around the world. Now, Trump appointed 3 of the justices on the nation's highest court during his first term, if you recall. Gorshevitz being one of them. Or is it Gorshis? It's such an ugly last name. I mean, I don't even know. But has scored a series of short-term wins with his 3. And it's also rumored somebody's supposed to step down soon. No word if it's Ginsburg. I thought she did step down. That's right, I forget. They put her on ice for a while, then they announced later that she died. Now, the majority found that the unconstitutional areas for the president unilaterally set and changed tariffs because taxation power clearly belongs to Congress, not him. Trump said, Congress? What Congress? You mean we have Congress? Oh, those guys. Yeah, they're not the House band. They're the House of Congress. So this is going to have a ripple effect. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, boy, he voted against it. He said it may not be a wise policy. Well, now you tell me. So that is something that's taken up the piss and vinegar levels of anger in the DC Beltway, as you can imagine. With that. Something else that's now taken up people's sparkles of imagination is the lovely Kristi Noem. Yes, Miss America herself. Well, she is trying to find some side hustle. That's right. And I'm telling you, we got to find how much she's charging for that hour. We have to find out if it's that one. But, now they're saying they're about to impeach her. She can feel it in there tonight, I'll tell you. She dabbed her finger in the water in the pool, put her toe in the pool, and felt the temperatures, and it's increasing, 98 degrees and rising is now. The Ice Barbie, they call her, secretly is plotting a new job to dodge being impeached. The under fire Kristi Noem is, considering leaving Donald Trump's cabinet in order to return to politics, of course, in her home state of South Dakota. The Department of Homeland Security hostess is said to be weighing up. Wedging is a different strategy. Up to challenge the Senate Mike Rounds, who's going to be making the rounds in the primary over there, according to the Atlantic. And the move would mean that Noem might avoid being forced out of her role. She says, "You can't fire me, I quit." As if. So that's a developing story. I tend to agree. So I think she'll do just fine. Now, I want to tell you this now. Before I give my take, and then we're going to get the concerned Canadians up here. You might have heard about Tucker Carlson being detained the other day in Tel Aviv over there when he interviewed the incredibly gifted Rabbi Huckabee, which I guess revealed too much for the Mossad and the IDF folks over there. Very spoiled people, but he got in trouble, but he's out of it now. And I saw a good portion of the live interview earlier today, but I found one of the most prominent and very pertinent moments of it. I'm going to show you in a second here. Really gets to the center of the entire issue called Israel, of why and who gives the direct granted anointment of birthright, essentially. And I got to give Rabbi Huckabee credit. He's no Grandpa Munster, aka Ted Cruz. It was like watching Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe just go back and forth. It was a very skillful debate of sorts. But check this out. We'll get your thoughts after this, because I thought it was a wonderful, spirited chat that probably is not being shown in Israel right now, or Fox News for that fact. Here it is, Tucker Carlson with the Rabbi Huckabee.
In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total, and 8 million of them live here. The rest live mostly in New York or South Florida, and a few other places.
Okay.
So this is a small population of people. They have connection to this land, historically, biblically.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
If Bibi's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
How do we know that?
Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
He doesn't. So no one does. That's the point.
But
so how do we know that he has any connection to this land at all?
And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language, the Bible, the land.
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So on what basis does he have a right to be here?
Very much speaks the language. Well, he has fought for the land. His family has fought for the land.
Dodging a very obvious question, which is, where does this right come from? And the reason it's meaningful is because there are a lot of people in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who, through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years. We don't know whether they practiced Judaism, whether they were Samaritans, pre-Islam. We don't know that. A lot of them we know have been Christians for 2,000 years. They have less of a right to the land than someone whose ancestors, the only thing we know about them is they lived in Latvia or Poland. They're Eastern European. How does that work?
They're Jewish.
By what definition?
They're Jewish by their
But how do we know they have any connection
they're
to
Jewish
the Jews
by their faith. They're Jewish
Bible?
by the connection to the language. Jewish by the connection to the Torah.
But how do we know that Bibi, specifically Bibi's ancestors, ever lived here? How do we know that?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
How do we know if the Prime Minister of Israel's ancestors ever lived?
Maybe I could ask you, how do we know they didn't? I mean,
well, it's on the basis of the claim that they did that all kinds of things happen. People are displaced. There's a money flow. I mean, it's a big question. A lot hangs on this. It's not some theoretical thing like, oh, did my grandparents do this or do that? It's like, no, we have a right to be here because my ancestors were here. Okay, how do we know they were here?
I'm totally unable to process what you're trying to get at.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't see what you're saying. Yeah. Wasn't that incredible? Wasn't it incredible? He's like, Tucker's like, yeah, 2 + 2 is 4, but you're telling me it's 5. I believe that you believe that. Define what 5 is. Wasn't that incredible? Rabbi Huckabee. He plays the nice guy. He plays like he's the father knows best. He plays I'm just the bass player, at my church evangelical choir group. But Israel can do no wrong. It's really, if you haven't seen the interview, it's really just a wonderful moment in television, because you see a man dance without moving, and that's definitely Mike Huckabee for you. Now, since that interview aired, I can now share that, it seems to be a ramping up of war now, of course, with Israel is now underway. As now literally Netanyahu just gave a speech in his homeland and said the phrase, quote, "Americans are ready to die for us," unquote. Just bit my tongue reading that. Americans are ready to die for us. I don't know. How about you, Mount? Are you ready to die for Netanyahu and the Israelis? Feel free to share your opinion. I gotta just think about that one a little. I don't know if I want to now, maybe later. We have a lot of people just all over the place. We have, let's see, let's catch some people here on Facebook. We have, yes, well, we have the return of Ranger Buck. What do you say, Buck? Are you ready to die for Netanyahu? Looks like you are. Let's see. What does he say? Said, fake Jews, how can you convert to an ethnicity? Well, it happens all the time. I just became Brazilian 5 minutes ago. What do you think? Anyone speak Portuguese? Want to join me? Anyone? Okay. But thank you, Buck. We have solid Gideos. He says the following. Oy vey. So he's ready to go. We're going to sign you up to the IDF. We're going to give you your special package, Mr. Gideo. Okay, so there you have that one. Let's check Rumble, shall we? And it's okay to say no, but think about it first. Get with your pastor. See what they say. We have people on Rumble saying, well, we have Rosemary Mack. She said no. Clearly, she's really rushing to conclusions. You might want to rethink that, Rosemary. I don't know about that. We have Maddie Lynn. She says, nope. Not even for J.J. Sullivan, she says. Okay, well, we have such an anti-Semitic judgmental crowd here. I am so ashamed. Okay, so there's that one. All right, so I'm going to give you just some gambling thoughts and opinions here. As a lot of news stories I've now seen for the past, I want to say 2 weeks, but it really goes further than that, but particularly the month of February. And I said, you know what? If you look at every major news story in the United States right now, every headline, there's one common theme of the headlines, and it all draws back to Israel, the place we're all going to be dying for soon, just so you know. So I kind of use this formula in my thinking here. Well, you look at the Guthrie case, which is completely asinine on its face, but you have to leave room for cream for everything here. So the fact that so the Epstein files come out, the Guthrie case happens the same time Bitcoin crashes. You have Trump in his stump speeches in 24, I believe, and even after, constantly bringing up Hannibal Lecter, which is really, it's kind of a creepy ordeal. Nonetheless, Hannibal Lecter, even to the point, and we put out a lot of these segments. Hopefully, everyone's seen them over time. These 2-minute clips or whatever. They're called reels now. They're not. You can't say video anymore. Trying to eradicate that term. And so you have Trump referring to Hannibal this. He wants to have you for dinner, and nobody's thinking twice about it. You even have one of the athletes enter the Super Bowl arena before the game dressed in a Hannibal Lecter mask. It's very chilling stuff here. If we have that video, I'll show it just for reference. But it's very eerie. Then you have the Guthrie ordeal, which makes no sense. It's flooding the airwaves, and nobody understands it. Everybody's talking about it. And you have her making the reference that speak to her and you shall see, which is an exact quote from the film. Exactly. Right. Speak to her, you shall see. Speak to her, you shall see. Let me see if we can play it real quick. But anyways, so speak to her, you shall see. Okay. So all this is coming back in the court. But however, we don't ever see her husband. We don't see this husband. Who is this husband? He's a high-level political consultant. High-level political consultant who nobody can find. You think that if your spouse is on national TV and she's playing for the return of her mother, at least you'd be on the sidelines clapping or something, or, oh, honey, give me a hug, crying out, you don't see any of that. And, he's a big to deal guy. So you don't see any of that. Now, at the same time, you have the Epstein files coming out, and it's really connecting so many dots. And now we hear the first arrest of prominence is Prince Andrew Barbiturate Windsor. Yeah, we hear about Andrew. In fact, just to speed us up, just for reference, the clip I put together. Check this out real quick.
Has anybody seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter. Did anybody ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? The young people didn't. Hannibal Lecter. Dr. Hannibal Lecter. The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. The late, great Hannibal Lecter would like to have you for dinner. He would love to have you for dinner. He will take you. He wants you for dinner. That's the end of you, by the way. He'd love to have you for dinner. You, right there. Don't do it. If he suggests, I'd like to have you for dinner, don't go. They say, why does he keep mentioning it? Because Hannibal Lecter was a serious psycho. He was a slightly troubled patient. He mentions Hannibal Lecter. It doesn't make sense. No, it makes a lot of sense. They're coming into our country. And I say, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Oh, he likes Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter, how great an actor was he? You know why I like him? Because he said on television, on one of the, I love Donald Trump, so I love him.
Yeah, who knows what he'll do.
Thank you, Clary. Thank you.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Well, we talked to her and we did see something. And what we saw is complete fraudulence in the entire story from start to finish, although it's not finished. The mother's been dead since the second day of the investigation. This was a bizarre weirdo family. In her own autobiography, she wrote how they had a family fun night of just playing kidnapping, which I don't recall, that being one of the options of playing, alternatives to hide and seek. Oh, apparently that was a common theme for the Guthries in all back then. So there's that. Now, the fact that her husband is not around, well, it might have something to do with he's a high-level political operative consultant in D.C. who was one of the main men for the Clintons. In fact, we went as far as finding out that he was one of the operatives that Clorox bleached all of Hillary's hard drives, which a refresher of that, Hillary as Secretary of State was literally allowing her emails to be accessed by people like China. She was part of the uranium selling of our uranium to Vladimir Putin, who said, what, you're going to give me cheap uranium? I'll take it. Yeah, which was what the whole Bundy Ranch in Nevada was about, because, you had these ranchers whose land happened to be on top of uranium. So Senator Harry Reid, that piece of garbage, and Mueller and everybody, they're partaking in the land grab of that whole area and selling the uranium that was under it to Russia and anyone who would want it. So that's, so that was, he knows things. Savannah Guthrie knows things. And then you hear about the cannibalism of the Bushes, and we know what Hillary did with Frazzle Drip. And if you don't know what that is, I don't even want to bear to mention it. So all these things are happening. Now, the Clintons are set for our Super Bowl here of their deposition day with the Epstein files, which the GOP, the House Republicans, want to do it behind closed doors. No, the Clintons want to do a free-for-all, a free concert for all, and make it public. And they're gleefully doing that. Interesting how that is. Then Andrew gets thrown to the wolves a few years ago with Epstein. Now they throw him to the snakes again. He was arrested just 2 nights ago, or a night and a half ago at this case. But here is the word we got, and this is what I'm thinking is happening here. Andrew was brought into the police precinct over there in London, and he wasn't necessarily questioned about Epstein. That's might be what the peanut gallery is being fed right now. What we captured and what we know is he was being questioned about the Clintons. That's what you're not going to hear anywhere else. He was being questioned about the Clintons. That's kind of unusual, isn't it? He's being questioned about the Clintons. Now, if he's given up the goods on Bill and Hillary, who have been so protected for 30 plus years, their entire adult, careers. You had Hillary, who was a lawyer in the 70s, hooking up with just all kinds of weird stuff. Bill, who was the black bag man for the Warren Commission in the 70s, and was rumored to actually kill one of the guys who was going to vote no, and said the cover up, yeah, that guy was killed on his way to the airport. Guess who drove him? Yes, Bill, the coffee guy. So you have a long history of these people and the stacks and stacks of dead bodies. You just follow the scent. Could it be that Savannah Guthrie's husband is now? It feels like he's turning because the signs and symbols are there. It's so in our face. The Hannibal Lecter references. What we could be witnessing is a sting operation, is where I'm getting at. That the 26th and 27th, where the Clintons are very braggadocious, how they're going to drop the gauntlet on Donald Trump, who is now being universally scorned with these revelations from the Epstein files. They could be walking into their own electric chairs of sorts next week. And I, for one, and all of us, we're going to be covering that, provided it's going to be live, because this could be the sting operation that finally brings down the corpse known as Hillary Clinton, and the very just ill-looking. Have you seen Bill Clinton? That's just, oh God, just a terrible looking person. Yeah, so the Clintons could be going down. I mean, if there's a small chance, we'll take it and just hope for the best, because this would be the prime stage for something like that. And, in regards of Trump, I was thinking about this too. For years and years, and we have the Concerned Canadians on deck here. We're going to introduce him here in a second. But, these are things I thought to myself for years, about since 1993 until his death, and many years after his death. I was vehemently against Michael Jackson, and I was just sure that the guy was a pedo. There was circumstantial evidence that suggested that, and there was nothing that was going to change my mind otherwise. Now, it wasn't until recently, in the past maybe 2 years, that I've taken a different look and a different position on what I believe, or who I believe Michael Jackson was, and what really happened to him. And when you learn that the man died literally after releasing a song that was referencing Free Palestine, when you learn that the man was literally surrounded by handlers, one of them being Rabbi Shmuley, which the name alone should tell you his integrity and hygiene too, for that fact. But when you realize that he was literally being handled, and then you get even more into it, and you realize he was chemically castrated in the 70s. So he would always have a falsetto, high-pitched voice, who his father was, and who his father allowed to surround Michael. It's troubling. And then to have him, when he went after the Sony execs, one of them being Tommy Mottola and the Zionist factions that have their stranglehold on music. It said to me that Michael Jackson was framed in many of these cases. And then you look at Aaron Carter, the younger brother of the other Carter from the Backstreet Boys. Yeah, who died, what is it, 3 years ago? He was a kid sensation who literally died the day after he revealed that when he was a kid, he hung out with Michael Jackson. They had a great time. Immediately following that day out, the FBI was right there waiting for him, and his mother was right there. They convinced her mother to convince her son, Aaron Carter at that time, that Michael Jackson molested him, and they were ready to press charges. And there was big money involved. So I think about these things, and what I'm saying is we could be experiencing the same thing here with Trump. And I know that's not popular to say, and I feel the daggers, I feel the pain, and I feel the sciatica too. But I'm saying if I compare the two, and just the conscience of the population at the time versus now, it's the stakes are high, and the same people who are controlling the slow release of the Epstein files were the same people who were controlling what we thought we knew about Michael Jackson for a long time. Because that's how high the stakes are. And that's how high the stakes are. So high when you saw Rabbi Huckabee speak to Tucker, we've literally been a brainwashed population by a small, very small, nefarious group of people for a very long time. It's in our religious dogmas. That's how far back this goes. So that's something I wanted to share with you. And I have no conclusive really decision on anything. I'm just sharing my very fluid thoughts with you. And sometimes I can be vulnerable and emotional at night. So when I think about these things. So anyways, we're all fallible too. Well, I'm going to now change gears here. We're going to be talking about Canada now, because Canada is, there was something that really struck a nerve with me. Just, the Redacted News team, which they do a very good job over there. Lovely news team over there. They had a wonderful special on recently, not too long ago, discussing the demographics change, the rapid demographic change in Canada happening, where to the fact that in BC alone, 54% of BC now is now being dominated by the Ganges Rivers residents who are coming. We're not talking about doctors. We're not talking about the Dr. Shivas of India, but particularly the New Delhi, just anyone who just come on in kind of ordeal. And it's changing the landscape. It's changing the culture. And if we don't pay attention to what's happening, because what I say, this is about to happen here with the A1B1 visa people, and what comes with that, we're in for a rude awakening. And it's bad when you start seeing the signs popping up in your grocery stores and your beaches that say, please, no defecating. That should be the wake-up call that you need right there. So I want to now bring some of our members here. We have the Concerned Canadians. We have, let's welcome Marnie. Welcome, Marnie, to the stage, all the way from Ontario. There you are. As well as Mr. Dave, who is, I want to say, in Edmonton. Am I right on that? My Canadian geography is terrible.
He's in Calgary.
All good.
That's right, Calgary. Okay, so I just want to get acquainted before we hit a break, but just overall, I mean, how fast is the demographic change, and when did it start, and when did you start noticing the massive changes in Canada, Marnie?
Oh, cripes. This goes back a long time, Dean. We were in Brampton, which is notoriously Indian, has been for years and years and years. I grew up there. My husband grew up there. My daughter was born there. And she was born in 91. We had to flee from Brampton for the third time. We moved from one subdivision to another because we were completely inundated. Then we had to move from that subdivision to another town, which we call the closest point of relief from Toronto. Let's put it that way. And we went there in 98. And yeah, and it was because there were 28 kids in Kate's class and 26 of them didn't speak English.
Okay, so late 90s. That's a good point. How about you, Dave? Would you agree to that? Or when was your awakening of the massive demographic change? Because for Americans, it was obviously when you had the limp-wristed, light in the pants, Justin Castro, Trudeau. What say you, Dave?
Mid 90s, it was goodbye to what looked like Canada, I guess. If you think about Canada as being non-Indian or not an Indian stronghold or whatever. Yeah, after the mid 90s, it was bye-bye. Their places of worship exploded in the early 2000s, and now there's probably more new places of worship for the Ganges dwellers than what would have been other places of worship.
Well, when was the last time you saw them build a Christian church in Canada? I can't remember a grand opening or anything in years.
No. Well, this is okay. So this is a very important chat we're going to have today, and then I know you guys have some very poignant stories to share too. But I'll say this: that I didn't know much about it, but we should probably know things about people that might become the 51st state for all intents and purposes. Alberto. Is it Alberto? How's he doing? Alberta is having the referendum vote very soon, and I have some questions about that. But when you look back at it, and when I look back, especially when the Pierre Trudeau guy came into power in Canada, when nobody, probably in America knew, that was a communist saboteur brought to North America to bring in like North Vietnamese communism through, the politeness of it all. And now we're seeing the effects of it. And let me tell you, communism does spread in the most magnificent ways, but it spreads slowly. So I want to hold you guys there. We're going to take this break here as this is going to be a very spirited ordeal. And don't hold back by any means at all. We don't do that here. So let's get to this. We're going to take this quick break here. All right. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of those things. I want to open up the lines too. I'm going to try to be a good steward when it comes to things like that. But I want to hear about if you're from Canada, what are you noticing that is alarming? Because, some of these, a lot of the legislation has no sunset. It's there forever, like taxes. Well, people are the same. It's hard to get them out. So we're going to talk about that and how that's going to affect the United States and some other pressing issues from around the world in your neck of the woods. You're watching Real Deal Media live on a Friday night. Can you imagine that? Can you believe it? Anyways, we'll be right back after this quick message. Don't go anywhere.
You are watching World at War with Dean Ryan, weeknights, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Real Deal Media.
The wars of the future are being planned here in Israel, because if you're not one step ahead of the enemy, you suffer. The most clever, creative military forces on the planet are here in Israel because they have to be to survive. So what we're looking at is that Israel is advancing down the road of new weaponry far beyond us, and it would be nice to have a process where we could be partners.
And I want to tell the mullahs out there, we're going to bomb you. We got a president that's going to do it. That's right. What a creep. What a creep this guy is. Mr. Ladybug. Or as they call him, Mr. Lindsay Bug. Are you aware of Mr. Lindsay Bug? If not, you should be. I really don't want to have to be the one that tells you about Mr. Lindsay Bug, but well, this should tell you everything you need to know right here. Look at this guy, or this insect. Look at him prancing around with all his ladybugs falling out everywhere. Who does he think he is? Unreal. Anyways, welcome back, everybody, to the wild world of insects here. I am still Dean Ryan. This is Real Deal Media Live on a unusual Friday. We have, yes, Mr. Phoenix. Oh, God, no is right. Oh, God, no is right. If you don't know about the Lindsay, the ladybug story, well, you're really missing out. And you're going to hate it, but you're not going to help yourself because you're going to have to tell 5 other people, because that's what happens. That's what happens with that story. We also have Ranger Buck saying the following. He says, please, Israel, may we use our weapons that we paid for, designed, and manufactured to fight your wars? Yeah. Please, Israel, may we die for you? Thank you. Oh, don't you love it too? And Netanyahu, who's an atheist, he's from Poland. He changed his name. I think his birth name is like Staniluski, Godalewski, something like that. Just unreal. Anyways, all right. So we're going to get back to everything Canada for a little bit here. And by the way, if you want to call in, we'll put you on deck. Let me put that out right now. Feel free to do so. I'm trying to be better about these things. I get caught up in the Epstein files, and I fall down so many different rabbit holes. You know how that goes around here. Feel free. I'll put the link in the description. And tell me, you can call in, tell me how much you love Israel and how you love to die for it. We want to hear from you and give you a wonderful prize for that. Okay. So there it is. I think hopefully it sends. All right. Let me bring back our incredible patrons here, the concerned Canadians, who are very concerned, as they should be, about what's happening in Canada. Okay, we're going to talk about some of these issues as the ever so changing demographics of Canada are really putting a hamper in, I would say, the economy, the taxes, the growth. Everything is probably doubled in cost here. Don't I know it? Okay, let's welcome back Marnie and Dave. Well, Marnie, she's with us here. Here she is. Okay. There she goes. Okay. So let's continue our chat here as you guys are, you're in the brunt end of it all. You're in the front row. So what is now happening? So now you have Mr. Mark Carney, who is now the prime minister. And as I said, if the United States takes Greenland or has a more dominant role and presence there, Canada will, the government that is, will see that as a threat, because Canada is still under kind of a Chinese, they're a proxy state for China still. However, that's changing with now the Greater Israel Project and all the new anti-Semitic laws that are coming in. As now, Israel's putting their footprint in the Commonwealth in South America. But however, it's very China-centric. Now, so I guess just quickly, Dave, now that Israel's trying to be the big man in Canada, do you see their footprint becoming more of a presence in, your neck of the woods, or are they still in their infancy?
This might tie into some of the topics we'll take a look at, but to dial it back to the 90s, the Chinese were primarily sucking up real estate and using them for the purposes of cultivating racing tobacco, if you will. And then they kind of evolved their game, whereas from the other side of the ocean there.
Yeah, that's true. China made the move about 96, 97 as Hong Kong got their independence. But Marnie, I know this ties into some of your stories, so let's get into it here. What do we need to know about what's happening in the great country of Canada? Because we have to save North America as a whole, period. We have a role in that, but go for it.
Personally, I think this is all part of the show, and they're playing to the normies because they know they've got to get through a media that is completely locked down by Carney. He decides what goes on the air and what doesn't, what people know about and what they don't. And I think you'll probably agree, 90% of what happens we hear about from American media, which is why we're so happy that American media is paying attention, finally. Because really, we're a much bigger threat to the United States from a security aspect than any of these other countries that he's already been dabbling.
That's true.
However, let's tie it together.
That's very true. It's actually so disappointing that there really isn't a prominent media voice in Canada, and it angers me to see people who have a microphone handy that they want to focus elsewhere, but they're not focusing at home. And we saw what happened to Patrick King, and Patrick King used to be here. And, he's not even allowed to talk, I guess, about what happened at the trucker convoy. That's disappointing. But
they've been muzzled. Everyone's been muzzled. So, big picture. Clintons are going to testify next week. And we know Carney has got his hands in everything to do with the Bank of London. This isn't recent stuff. This goes back to the Steele dossier, Uranium One, the money coming out of Harvard, the setup of COVID. It was all done through Epstein. And we know that Carney has got some pretty solid ties to a guy named Hoffman. So we've got Prince Andrew getting hauled in for questioning, not about Epstein, but about the Clintons. We've got a guy picked up in Benghazi 2 weeks ago, supposedly one of the co-conspirators, who's been hauled back to the States to testify, amongst others. I think the Clintons are about to be completely blindsided with everything, and Carney is going to be part of the fallout. He doesn't have to go directly at him. He's got everything through the Clintons to point the fingers. And I think that's what's going to happen. And with the new tariff laws, having it shot down by the Supreme Court is not a bad thing at all. Because here's the scoop. All right, Section 122 means that Trump can do a 10% across the board tariff to every single country, not a problem. And Section 301 deals with unfair trading practices, which we know Canada is very guilty of. And there's also something to do with Section 232 that my girl is still researching. So we'll find out what that has to do with it. But it's taken the uncertainty away, and I think the Clintons are the key. It's going to be the flood, and it's going to open up everybody else, and they're all going to lose their minds.
Oh yeah. We're talking about the old guard. The Clintons are definitely. They're the poster children of the deep state. I would say so. That was the first time that you talk about the crimes of the Clintons. Well, first of all, you had Bill Clinton being blackmailed by Netanyahu. I wrote a piece on that in 2014. You have Hillary Clinton. I mean, this is a woman who told Janet Reno, who was played accurately by Will Ferrell, in my judgment. I mean, really. But you had Hillary Clinton really make her first presence known, her demonic presence. She gave the kill order of the Davidians in Waco, Texas, in 1993. They were trying to stop homeschooling. They were trying to demonize militias in the early 90s. That was the first takedown. Those were people that were willing to have peaceful negotiations. They burned them alive. Janet Reno said it on her deathbed. And on and on. And then you had them give the secrets away to the North Koreans of all the nukes. And then you had Bill Clinton get blackmailed by Netanyahu when he was at Camp David with the then Israeli Prime Minister Embark, whatever his name was at that time, and then the head of the PLO, Arafat. They were going to have a two-state deal, but Clinton got blackmailed because he was a sexual pariah. So it's on and on. The crimes are just unbelievable at, Lewinsky and all. But so the Clintons are the key. But where do you, from your perspective, where do you think the Obamas stand in this? Because I've had two people confirm this with me in the past 24 hours. So you have Obama now talking about aliens, which forced Trump to come out and say what Obama did, giving secrets away, he should be investigated for, which is a nice play they're doing because that gives credence to what they're trying to do, which is Project Bluebeam is coming up. Everybody, they're trying. We're about to meet ET as we're about to find some very unusual things about this world, and it's going to stem from Antarctica onwards.
And as the Bible says, do not be deceived.
Right. These are going to be aircraft, and Dave, we told everybody just a number of years ago, as far back as 2022, we said by 2024, by the end of it, there's going to be some kind of nuke scare, Orson Welles, War of the Worlds kind of event, and we're going to see the introductions of all the new ETs and aircraft. And when that came about that year, it all happened onward. So let's go to this the next feature you have here, Marnie, because what do we hear about the youth in Asia is picking up? We heard about the heroic story of what happened to your mother. She went into the hospital for something so simple. They try to convince her that it's time to now go to the next, afterlife. And that's a common thing now.
It's mandated. It's mandated by the College of Physicians and Surgeons that they have to discuss it. And I went as far as to contact a place called the something or other society out in BC. And they actually provide you with a card that you can put in your wallet that says, don't talk to me about this or I will sue your ass off. And I got them for the whole family.
Interesting. Let me ask you about this. Let's talk about Alberta. Dave, Alberta, there was something, here's what I think happened. Just the other day, I did one of the most bizarre stories to ever be in the mainstream. It was a lone gunman shooting. In what city was this? It escapes me at the moment. In Canada.
Tumbler Ridge.
Tumbler Ridge had a lone gunman school shooting. Yet they couldn't tell you who the shooter was. They didn't tell you what pigmentation of his skin was. They didn't tell you if he had a innie or an outie. They didn't even tell you how many, what students, how many, were they boys? They told us nothing except for the accuracy of the body count. Now, Dave, you mentioned to me that on the very least, it was another deep state scratch of raiding the guns in Canada. So let's talk. Right. Let's talk shop here. Are there even any guns left? I mean, didn't you guys have to just politely give that over?
They've taken out. Well, you can't purchase or sell a handgun anymore, and basically they're working on taking away any type of hunting rifle at the moment. which I think this Tumbler Ridge thing will play into. They'll come after more rifles, long guns.
Isn't so? That's what they said the shooter used. It was a long gun rifle in the shooting.
Right. You'll notice it wasn't done in Toronto, which was where the handgun capital is. So they have to use something else.
So isn't that something? They didn't tell us who the shooter was. They did tell us that people in the area are on lockdown. Why is there more? Is there going to be more? Are there shooters on the loose? They won't even tell you that. Now, here's what I found out about that area from one of our viewers in Canada. That particular area is like the new town of Connecticut. Connecticut in the States is a very creepy state. It's a state that's often used for the witness protection program, which it's a CIA staple. A lot of CIA may retire there. A lot of them do go to Costa Rica as well. But that particular town in Canada, that this event that we absolutely know nothing about except for body counts, is what was described to me as a MK Ultra kind of town. And knowing how Canadians are just kind of go along to get along, a good portion of them, I could see that as a possibility. Because they want to be. They've always admired themselves different than Americans. Just go with the flow type. Have you heard any word on that? Is that ring a bell of any?
Oh, you muted, Dave.
Yeah. I said MK Ultra and he got muted. See what happened? While he's doing that, here we have Cindy Jankowicz saying that Saskatchewan and Alberta are exempt from what's that, Cindy? Please share your thoughts. Expand. Okay, we have here's another one here. Here it is right here. She says the following, that Canada is going to start MAID, that's the euthanasia program, on newborn babies that are from poor families and have disabilities. And you know what they do is it's organ harvesting. Where there's China, there's organ harvesting for sure. Go ahead, Dave.
On that topic with the MAID, there's another benefit to the base model package, I guess you'd say. You can just take an Uber or drive right to the morgue and leave your shoes at the door, and they'll take care of everything. They'll kill you and they'll embalm you same day.
Hey, that's not a bad deal.
It's kind of an all-inclusive package. They have a real pretty room for it, and music and candles and shit. Yeah, it's all very creepy.
And then meanwhile, Israel's saying, "Please die for us first before you kill yourself." That's what they're saying on that front. Okay, so Marnie, tell me some more about this, because look, 54% of a massive change over there in BC is huge. It's huge, and there's plenty of it. I mean, when you have two of the world's superpowers when it comes to populations, China and India, coming into an Anglo-Saxon who is, look, I've made the claim privately, but publicly, I believe there is an ethnic cleansing happening in Canada and throughout the Commonwealth for that fact. They want to get rid of the Anglo-Saxon because in the DNA and the whole purpose of why the Anglos came to the New World was to run and rid their lives of the monarchy and the monarchs. And they were the dissidents. And we know about Australia. There are even more dissidents down there. But particularly the Anglo-Saxons, and Christianity has always been a form of a democratic societal standard compared to the Dark Ages and, serfs and kingdoms. And we know that the most obedient class of people in the world are the Asiatic Chinese and the Indians as well. I mean, look how they're on their trains and buses in India. They're hanging on the side, if one falls down and dies, well, it's okay. We got a billion more. And that's what they're turning the West into. One big just latrine. Go ahead, Marnie.
Well, one of our big problems here, Dean, is more recent with the Chinese. because the Chinese that are coming to Canada, or at least that were legally and honestly, were trying to get away from the CCP. They were coming from Hong Kong. They were coming from mainland China. And now they find out they went to a country that's not going to protect them whatsoever. These people get threatened on Canadian soil. They get stalked. They get extorted. Their families back in China are at risk. And our government turns a blind eye. And that's not hyperbole. I'm sorry that we've got case after case after case. Look at the two guys that were detained for over 2 years, the two Michaels. Our government said, hang on to them till after the election.
Okay, that is true. We should give credit to Canadian Chinese and American Chinese, those that want to get out of the communist hellhole of China, that do come to the West to live in a democratic world. And then if they speak bad about China, you have the CCP who comes over here and assassinates them or arrests them. And how the U.S. government allows that to happen is beyond me. But then again, they allow pedophilia Israeli officials to have free passage back home to Tel Aviv. Isn't that something?
It is.
Okay, so here's another one. We have Aussie Girl.
Can I go back
on Rumble?
Sorry.
Let me say we have Aussie Girl on Rumble saying they give you a shot to relax you at Maid. Okay, this is part of the package, Dave. Dave, if you don't fight for with the IDF, this is what we're going to send you. We're going to give you a shot to relax, Dave. We're going to give you a shot, a nice pillow, foot massage. We're going to have some nice smooth jazz in the background, maybe. Also, shot 2, the next shot we're going to give you, Dave, that's the one that's going to paralyze you. And if that doesn't work, and if we feel like it, the third shot will make your lungs fill with fluid until you drown. Now, isn't that peaceful, Marnie? I mean, come on, everybody.
It's very peaceful.
So darling. Thank you, Oscar.
But they gotta have that window in there to harvest the organs, Dean. Because they gotta be fresh.
And we're going to have a harpist play in the background too. Little lovely sweet nothings, just for your person. Okay, just one more. Then we'll go to you. What you said there, Marnie. We have this one as well. We have people on YouTube. Gun confiscation. Okay, here it is. Thank you, Cindy. Referendum. Alberta is going to have our referendum vote in October 19th. It was announced yesterday. Can somebody check the star charts on October 19th? Let's see what my astrologist says. The power of Nancy Reagan compels me. Go ahead, Marnie. Expand on your thought there earlier.
Well, with what Epstein was up to and our government's ties to various people that are in the files, why would we not think that all of this organ harvesting that's being done through MAID is black money and isn't being funneled through Epstein or one of his cohorts, shall we say? I think it's all going to come out. I think Trump is just sitting back because he knows he's got so many things to bury us with. He doesn't need to even speak. He's going to let Hillary do it.
Well, you know what could come back into play, and not to be sensationalist, but we're at that time of the show, is part of my language, but the Wiener laptop. The Wiener laptop.
And uranium the Wiener laptop. 1.
And uranium 1, yes. You want to talk about the +4 cards in Uno? Those are it right there. It's a wild card. Dave, I don't know if you're aware, but Elton Barr tried to confiscate the Wiener laptop, and to no avail. Trump took it. Also, I think something else that could come into play again is there were 26 NYPD Blue officers that were witnesses to what was on the Wiener laptop. They were witnesses to the so-called frazzle drip footage, and we're all physically sick after viewing such just filth, snuff, essentially. Now, 25 of the 26 just so happens, and just coincidental, all committed suicide. They got a tie, wrapped it around their neck, and began to choke themselves out on the doorknob. Terrible way to do it, apparently. Now, however, there is one survivor of that, and who was never found. I kind of knew where he was the whole time. They tried to find him. They killed his pets, his cats, his dogs. But I would imagine that we might see a resurgence of some of these people, even the Benghazi whistleblower, who will rest assured tell the world once again that Hillary gave the stand-down order to Ambassador Stevens.
I think we're going to see a couple of witnesses come forward, like the guy from Venezuela, Maduro, who's got the election stuff. We've got Andrew spilling his guts, probably for a really nice little plea deal over in England. We've got the trail of disaster that Carney's left behind. We have got the whistleblower from Canada, who has still not been named, but apparently testified yesterday. I'm still digging on that because there's not much out there. So I think they're going to see a parade of faces that they thought they'd gotten rid of a long time ago, and they're going to lose it.
Okay, speaking of that, well, I want to share who the Epstein of Canada is before I dip out of here in just a sec. But here's Ranger Buck, who is, Ranger Buck is, man, when he comes around, he's sure.
He knows.
I don't know where he goes. I think he's in the witness protection program half the year, but he's back for now. Okay, he says the following. China's surveillance mind control infrastructure in Canada began with closing of the 134 Target stores in Canada back in 2015. Those are their bases. See what I'm saying? He's like the magic 8 ball. He's the original Grok.
That is really interesting because they bought all those stores up from, who was it, Dave? Was it Towers? Or was it?
I think some of them were Zellers.
Zellers, yes. Zellers sold out, and Zellers was owned by Hudson's Bay. And we know Hudson's Bay goes back to the very beginning.
Yeah, they have all the storefronts. Remember all the police precincts that we found that were, which, by the way, we had the lead on that story before the rest of the country did, but we had an insubordinate B word at the time that did not fulfill her obligation. So we were like very lethargic on that story, but we had it before anyone else did, and it pains me to think about. Let's not talk about that. Okay, so here's another way. You talk about money laundering and storefronts of China. Well, that's I said this, and it's hard to believe, and it's quite daft, but yeah, the donut shops all throughout California. I found it fascinating how they're all just, Chinese people making donuts now. And hey, when I was growing up, that was never the case. That's another money laundering, like furniture stores, and Israel. The Mossad, they use the Chabad NGO religious buildings and sectors to do their bidding as well. So you see how these things work. It's all in the name of the love they have. Okay, well, here is this one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
We haven't hit the most alarming thing that's happened in the last 2 days. And that is the announcement that Canada is actively recruiting and making it easy for foreign military trained people to come and join our military to make it stronger. People from China are more than welcome. How scary is that? Yeah.
That is actually, that's very scary because here's why is that's kind of what Senator Dick Durbin said on the House floor last year when he was parading and shopping the idea, the little ladybug he is too, now that I think about it, of allowing the migrants, Dave, allowing Mustafa all the way to Long Duck Dong to join the U.S. military, and in rewarding them for doing so, giving them full citizenship, Now think about the consequences of such a dastardly move there. Well, we already know that when you join the military now in these days, the first thing they ask you, are you willing to shoot and fire upon the American people? At first you think it's a joke, but then when you realize, no, they're dead serious. Okay, you might say yes, you might say no, but when they ask these foreigners to do it, they'll do it, because if they don't, they'll lose their citizenship and they'll kick them out. So this is what's happening. So to sum it all up here, and I'm going to do more on this when World at War comes back, and if and when. But we have another philanthropist. I'm even wondering if I should do this now. It's such a bigger story. But there's a philanthropist who you might start hearing about in the Epstein files, Marnie. And he is the Epstein level, the Kushner level, and that's a tease. It's a big file, and but I'll tease it for now. But he is at the level of Epstein, and it's in Canada, because one thing about Canada that the U.S. may not have, the landmass you guys have, Dave, it's big. You have a lot of forest, correct? More than we do up north.
Oh yeah.
So that's always a tall tale or a sign. Just like Colorado has Colorado Springs, they have Pikes Peak. That's what we learned in the John Benet Ramsey ordeal here. That's where the Satanists play. That's where they do their sacrificing. That's where they do their Hunger Games. That's where they have their secret lairs. That's where they wear their red robes. They do their reenactment of the cremation of care and the Lord of the Flies all in one.
Well, all I got to say is the Picton Pig Farm. Trudeau was heavily involved, owned a property right next door. And that man was convicted of how many murders and how many bodies that he had buried on his property.
They don't know. Pigs.
They don't know, because I found out yesterday that one of the ways that these people like to get rid of bodies is by using pigs, because they eat everything.
That's right.
And that's why there was a big pig farm out where Trudeau was. And there's also a pig farm in New Mexico on the previous Epstein property.
Dave, this is why I don't eat pork. This is why this is why the Muslims don't eat pork. But I want to sum it up here, because I'll just tell you the guy's name, the Epstein of Canada. It's Peter Nygard.
Nygard. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
That is the Epstein of Canada. That's the Epstein of the Canucks right there, and he's in the Epstein files.
And he's in jail.
Sex trafficking victims were transported. He was transporting everybody, and which I found hard to believe, because Dave, and please share your thoughts. Dan Bonbingo and Mr. Cash Patel, the man who's being held at gunpoint, they said there's no trafficking. Even Ben Shapiro told me there's no evidence of it, and here's clear evidence of it. Where do we make of this, Dave? And then round it all up, sum it all up for me, because the demographics are changing and Canada's being just exposed for what it truly is.
Absolutely. So there is no mention of Epstein up here on state media. They say it was, it's no big deal. And then our independent media, if you want to call it that, I don't believe they've run a single story on it. I checked a couple of times. I see nothing, just crickets, like it didn't exist, didn't happen, guy never existed. And then the reason they prefer the Chinese to replace the SSRI intoxicated Canadians over the Indian people is because the Indians just shoot themselves. They don't seem to know how to use guns. So that's why they like the Chinese. I guess the Chinese maybe are a little more proficient with firearms, but so that sums up the military and the Epstein files up here in Canada. So you're right. It is a massive hub of sex trafficking, organ trafficking, you name it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because Canada has some uninhabited, areas, woodsy areas, forest. We know what they do in Yosemite out here. We know about the cloaking programs, the invisibility kind of DARPA, toys that they use on unsuspecting, campers, hunters. There's a lot of missing hunters in Canada. It's actually a no-go kind of topic for politicians even, because there's no information that these national forests, whether it's here stateside or in Canada, they're not willing to give their information about how many people went disappearing and are missing. They don't want to talk about it because we have intelligence to military apparatuses with no oversight in both of our countries that are getting away with crimes against humanity at a rapid pace, to the point, Marnie, and maybe we'll get your final take here, is that they're willing to bring in the third world here to the West to rid the West, to rid the conclaves of the Anglo-Saxons that we built, because now we're entering the post-human era. So once they rid us, they're going to rid the very pawns they're using to rid us. So what's your take on everything here in a final gasping moment here, Marnie?
Well, I think we've done all we can do. We have spread the word. We have tried to wake people up. And I really think that this is going to be a pivotal thing in the Great Awakening. This is going to be the shock that the normies need. They've been getting probably about 6 weeks of tidbits that are starting to make them pay attention to the news, whether it's Nancy Guthrie or Epstein. They've dangled enough carrots to get enough people to pay attention. Now they can hit them between the eyes. There was no point in hitting them between the eyes if they were looking the other way.
That is so true. I guess like you got to shock the monkey, to quote Pete Gabriel. I want to thank Dave, Marnie, our wonderful night owls, but you guys certainly are concerned Canadians. And I said it before too, Dave, backstage. I really do want to make an effort of getting in touch with Patrick King and at least seeing what truly happened, and hopefully he'll be able to talk. But I don't know. I don't want to get him in trouble. So, anyways, thank you very much, everybody. That's the kind of members we have here at Real Deal Media. We just love it. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. Just a little longer here as we strive with you to midnight and beyond. And don't I know it? Okay, we have a lot of people who are commenting all over the world, as you should. There's a lot of things to comment on, but just incredible. The landmass. I'm telling you, this is why I don't want to go camping in the woods, because I don't want to be probed by aliens. Now that we're going to be meeting the new ETs coming to Earth. We're going to have to, it's like if your parents remarry and the new spouse has kids, you got to meet who your new siblings are going to be. That's going to be the alien introduction for all of us. Isn't that exciting? And, from what I hear, there's a lot of accounts that have a lot of these old astronauts, or, NASA, or, the secret space people. They said, yeah, there's these reptilian people, and they're one ugly mofos, that's for sure. Yeah, they are. But they can shapeshift. And I don't think these movies, over the course of the cinematic history, I don't think these ideas in these films like Aliens and Terminator, I don't think they just came out of the picture of someone's imagination. I think they were ideas and whispers that were given to the content creators of these films, as some sort of hints, awakenings, depending how you look at it. But I'll tell you, this is there is a coming together in this country, and dare I say around the world, as we rightfully should, as the left-right paradigm is as old as the Clinton regime and the powers that they think they have. And we better come together, because what we're about to endure here as the next phase of this pandemic war, the enemy is not going to have a recognizable face. It's not going to have a moment of weakness, because it's going to be a robotic enemy. It's going to be controlled by a nefarious puppet master who has no humility, who has no empathy, and who has no lingering feelings towards his fellow common man, if he indeed is even human. So, the future, you don't have to imagine what that's going to look like, because the hints are there. It's very much so there. Terminator wasn't just a movie about Arnold Schwarzenegger on a Harley Davidson. No, it was a documentary. So that's how I see it. Okay, we're going to leave it there. And but before we do, before I give my final thoughts, we do have some more comments that are so crucial to the story here tonight. We have Ranger Buck, who's definitely on fire. Yes, okay, he says the following, that China basically took over the world. Israel was controlled by China. Buck, that's true. We have our very own James Martinez in India right now at the biggest artificial intelligence expo happening around the world with the world leaders. We're working on, over the weekend, getting him to do a segment with me. For all of you, he'd be happy to do so. It's over there, I believe, near New Delhi, I want to say. I'm going to see if he can do that for us. And we'll see if he can swim in the Ganges. I want to get some footage of that as well. I'm very fascinated and curious. Okay, here's some more people commenting before we go the way of the Shiva. Here is another one. Here's Cindy, who's also on fire. Thank you, Cindy. And then I'm going to go Rumble after this. She says, they will not release the rest of those files. This was a cover-up for the real names behind it all. Yeah, like Lex Wexner. Yeah, well, but why won't they release it? And do we believe it's Bondi and or Trump that is managing the release of these files? Because I think that, well, who I think's behind it. I think the entire executive branch, at the very least, is controlled by a foreign country, and that you have to be anointed to even be considered to sit there. That's how I see that. We got a Rumble here. One last time. Here we have, yes, James Martinez, that is. Okay, we have Lena Star Moon, who is in the UK, surviving that. Steer Carmer. God, what's his name? The Prime Minister of UK. It's a tongue twister. The communist. Yeah, he's due to step down any moment. In fact, I'll give you an update on that. I should have to start with. Here's an update for the UK. I had it sitting here the whole time. This is from our EU insider. If you are living in England now, just know we care. We care, and we try to inform you accordingly. Well, here's what Forsetti, our EU insider, says regarding what's happening in the United Kingdom, and sadly throughout Europe, that seems to be doing more arrest than they know what to do with it, compared to right here in the U.S., where we've seen how many arrests now? Oh, 0. That's right. All right, here it is. Okay, this is interesting. So, look, we got word. We kind of know who's going to be running for president here in the U.S. because the candidates, they put feelers out overseas first. Little packets, little pamphlets. They'll send it to the embassies. They'll send it to the headquarters of, the Labor Party, little fax machines, just to get their feelers out. Now, you won't believe this. When I heard this earlier, I didn't just spit my Gatorade out. I spit coffee out too, immediately after that, because I almost couldn't believe that, like the movie Hell with Jason, that this character is still alive and still going to be viable. Well, we're getting word that Hillary Clinton is now making the rounds throughout the media once again. She loves the limelight, but she also loves the potential possibility. She's trying to garnish support in the Democratic apparatus to run for president in 2028. Can you believe that? Can you believe the energy of a dead woman and the ability of a dead woman to still run. I mean, you talk about breaking the glass ceiling as a woman, but that's breaking the coffin open to then break the glass ceiling. That's incredible. Now, her political guru has instructed her, Hillary Clinton, who we're going to see, to portray herself as a sensible centrist for the Democrats. Once again, you know, we're going to be here 30 years from now and still talking about how Hillary's going to be running for president. Just because we might get old, but the latex and the mask of Hillary, it's going to remain the same age, and we'll just change the actors. Also, notice this: you're going to start to see Hillary Clinton a lot more in public. You're going to see her walk back her deplorables statements she made last go around. You're going to also see her start talking about immigration is good, but uncontrolled immigration is bad. So we have the talking points, everybody. That's for Hillary. I'm with her. And we're not confirming that she's going to be the candidate, but this is how you do it. You start putting the feelers out. You deny it that you're going to be running, but you say, I have to confirm with my pastor and my dead husband. There you have that one. Okay, so, and then in regards to Madelson over there in the UK, this is what I want to share with you. Madelson was the gentleman who was named directly in the Epstein files over there in the UK. He's the number 2. He's the guy who put Carr Starmer, the queer Karmer guy, into a position of power. He was also the gentleman that has now brought down his monster, his prime minister, who admitted openly in the House of Parliament that he knew all about the entanglements of Lord Madelson and Jeffrey Epstein. He knew all about it, and he was perfectly fine and dandy about it. Well, he said Madelson is going to he's going to be in contempt and be held for treason. So they're trying to get Andrew to flip on him too. So that's the word we're getting. In regards to Andrew, final thing in that, he was questioned under caution. It's all related to the Clintons, I was told. They're going before Congress or something. Yeah. That's the deposition. And finally, last but never least, we need to prepare ourselves for the announcement of aliens, as they're going to be announced as being very real soon. And even Laura Trump has alluded to such a reality. They're going, and this is now because the second batch of files are going to be released just in time for the alien introduction. It said it would happen. Okay, everyone's gearing up for it. So that's Project Bluebeam, everybody. And everyone's gearing up for it. The alien release, that is, because they also are going to be gearing up for the second batch releasement of the releasing of the Epstein files. So there you have it. What a show here tonight. I'm sweating internally. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this, you want to have a backstage chat with me, and you want to see and hear some stories about the aliens I met over the weekend, feel free to become a Real Deal Media Night Owl member. Help save World at War, bring it back. As we say, don't stop thinking about tomorrow, but sign up tonight. And you can do that at realdealmedia.tv, realdealmedia.tv. See, I don't even promote these things as much as I should because I'm so entrenched with everybody here. I get lost. I'm a lost soul swimming in a fishbowl. Okay, all you got to do to become an idol, go to realdealmedia.tv. Go to realdealmedia.tv tonight. And there you have it. We can't wait to have you. So I'm going to leave it there. For Mr. Dave over there in Canada, Calgary, as I was corrected. And for Marnie, I'm Dean Ryan, who's saying thank you for sharing this incredible Friday night with me. Hopefully we get to do it again soon, and we get to do it with World at War. But you know how things go sometimes. In the meanwhile, I will see everybody Monday, and never forget to stay tuned and always stay awake as the world is getting it's getting smaller and to the point where we're already putting wars we don't even want. You see. So until next time, always remember to stay tuned, stay awake. Good night, everybody.
Shine.